Welcome back to Joy Recaps, Movie Stories Recapped here. Today, I'm going to recap an American war drama film called The Book Thief. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The first scene of the film begins with the sight of clouds above the earth, and a male death narrator voice is heard. He also struggles too much because no one lives forever. In any situation, my advice is to remain calm. A passing train can now be seen in a snowfield. Liesel, the main character, is also present. This is Nazi Germany during World War II. Liesel witnesses her younger brother's death in a train and his burial at a rest stop. It is now 1938 in Germany, and Liesel is in a car driving through a snowfield. She is actually going to her new foster parents. Rosa is the name of my mother, and Hans is the name of my father. She arrives at her residence. As Liesel comes downstairs the next morning, Hans is playing a musical instrument and greeting her. Rosa requests that Liesel refer to me as Mama, while Hans refers to her as Papa. Someone knocks on the door after a while, and it is a child named Rudy. He later becomes Liesel's best friend. Rudy is Liesel's classmate at school. When Rudy and Liesel arrive at school and proceed to class, they find standing students in front of the teacher. Liesel's name is called out by the teacher, and she is given chalk to write her name on the board. Liesel is illiterate, so she marks 3 crosses on the board to indicate that she does not know how to write. Everyone in the class is making fun of Liesel, but the teacher orders everyone to be quiet and directs her to her seat. Liesel returns to the house, and her mother takes her inside. Liesel's father says goodnight to her and notices that she is reading a book. Hans inquires, "Is it really yours?" "It is always mine. It is my brother's," Liesel responds. Then he inquires, "Do you know what is written here?" Liesel responds, "No, she can't read because she doesn't know how." Hans claims that he is not a good reader. Regardless, let's get started. After that, they read the book. The next morning, Liesel, dressed in a uniform, sings a song about Germans. Meanwhile, it is November 1938, and the army is violently breaking the window glasses in a market. The pages are shattered all over the street. Someone is now knocking on a house's door. Also introduced is a new character named Max. He is Jewish. He flees from the soldiers. The Liesel house is then shown again, where Liesel's father, Hans, teaches her to read and says, "Promise me about my exact burial location after my death." Then Hans takes the book from her and says, "Come with me. I have a surprise for you," and bring Liesel down to the basement, the location of the writing words and alphabets on the wall. He hands her a chalk and instructs her to write these words in the dictionary. Liesel enjoys reading and writing, so she is overjoyed. "Thanks, Papa," says Liesel. After that, someone arrives at Hans' house, knocking on the door. Hans summons Liesel to hurry up or we will miss the parade. It's late at night, and the entire town is gathered at a location where an army officer is giving a speech. He believes that during the National Socialist Revolution, our nation should be reduced. Our determination is to morally and intellectually cleanse ourselves. Education, theater, literature, film, and the press are all supporting pillars that can shape our nation's personality. This is the reason for our gathering, to cleanse ourselves of intellectual dirt. Then they set fire to the stack of books in the middle of them, and he claims that we must eradicate the disease that has infected Germany for the past 20 years. If war breaks out, we will face our adversary and fight for our future until we achieve victory. Such a war will destroy our adversary. Liesel listens intently, and everyone is shouting slogans. Officer also claims that we will get rid of all communists and Jews. He then declares, "Great German Adolf Hitler." Then everyone sings a song while straightening their arms. Everyone leaves after a short time. Liesel goes to the book-burning site and picks up a fallen book to hide in her coat. When Hans arrives, he says, "I've asked you to meet me in church." "Sorry, Papa," says Liesel. The pages of books are all over the place. Liesel coughs because she has a small burnt book in her coat. Hans says nothing knowing about it, only saying, "We'll keep it secret and read it like the other books in the basement." Liesel is overjoyed and wonders, was my real mom a communist? Was it Hitler who murdered my mother? And declares that I despise Hitler. Hans forbids him from saying it in front of anyone. When Liesel returns home, he reads The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells. Someone suddenly knocks on the door. In fact, he is the same Max who is the first Jewish fighter. In a worried state, he requests assistance. Rosa and Hans recommend that he go upstairs. Hans informs Liesel that Max's father died in the war while sacrificing his life for me, and I owe it to his family. And he tells Liesel, "Give me your words that you will not tell anyone about our visitors nor your soul." Liesel promises to keep her words and returns to school the next day. She comes to her house after school to play with Rudy. When Jewish Max is sleeping with a book in his hand, Max awakens just as Liesel is about to take his book, and refers to her as a curious young lady. She returns his book and inquires about it. Max claims that it is about Hitler. Liesel inquires, "Are you hiding from Hitler? Are you a socialist? Had they murdered your mother?" Max responds, "No, I am a Jew." Rosa comes to Liesel the next morning, assigns her a task, and gives her some laundry clothes, and requests a house visit. She arrives at that house with Rudy in no time, where an elderly lady Ilse summons her inside the library. She may have picked up on Liesel's desire to learn. Liesel feels pleasure when she touches books and selects the dream career. She then realizes Rudy is waiting for her outside and goes to tell old lady Ilse. However, old lady Ilse invites her to come for a book reading at any time. Max is now shown in the basement because Hans' family is afraid of a soldier raid. Max is Jewish after all. Liesel also goes downstairs to continue reading her book. And a new word is always written with chalk on the basement wall because it is difficult. Max inquires, "Where do you get these words?" Liesel labels it as a secret. Later, she reveals the location where she goes to read books and memorize. Max then gives Liesel a book. He says, "I learned from my religion that every living being, every leaf, and every bird are only alive because they have secret words of life. To tell the difference between clay and ourselves, we must use words. Words are necessary for survival." Snowfall gradually increases the cold, and Max becomes ill as a result of the cold temperature in the basement. Liesel now believes Max is dead and places her deceased brother's pick on him, and still reads books. H.G. Wells is the Invisible Man. A stranger arrived in February, during the bitter cold and driving snow. Nobody would know anything about him until he died. Later, Liesel sneaks into an old lady's house library through a window and steals a book. Ilse cannot use laundry services because her husband forbids her. With the passage of time, she continues to steal books from the library one by one in a covert manner, and Rudy is also aware of it. But she claims that she has only borrowed. Following that, Liesel tells Rudy about Max. Many soldiers now visit this area to check for the presence of Jews or communists. Liesel's family is on high alert. At night, the residents of the area relocate to a location with their belongings after a military raid. Rosa and Hans, who had left Max at home, joined Liesel in hiding at that location. But Max comes out of the house and smiles. He is happily gazing at the stars when a soldier van approaches. He quickly conceals himself. He decides to leave the next day so that this family is not harmed by his presence. Liesel is saddened by Max's departure. Max departs in the dead of night. Liesel is inconsolable, as are Rosa and Hans. Then the following day, it is revealed that Liesel's best friend has also been chosen for the elite training, that he will begin in the summer. Meanwhile, Hans receives a job as a result of his army selection. According to Liesel, everyone is leaving, including Rudy. Hans advises Rosa to take care of her mother, because she is frail. Hans also departs. Liesel is finally sitting on the stairs, holding a book. Within a short time, a ranger van arrives, followed by Hans. Liesel is overjoyed to see him and exclaims, "Papa, you've returned home." Hans is talking with Liesel in his house, and Liesel says, "I was surprisingly thinking about Max as where is he?" Hans says the same thing. Because these are war days, war has erupted once more. The next day, everything is destroyed. Houses are smashed to dust, and dead bodies are strewn everywhere. Everything has perished. Soldiers discover a live girl beneath the structure. She is Liesel, the survivor. And she is hurt, and she says, "Mama, Papa," as she comes out. But her family is no longer there. Rosa, Hans, and Rudy are all no longer alive. She loses consciousness. When she comes to, she discovers a book beneath the bricks. Simultaneously, old lady Ilse arrives in her car, to whose house Liesel used to go for book stealing. She runs and embraces that lady. Liesel is seen working in Rudy's father's tailor shop 2 years later, and she sees Max at the door and smiles as she greets him. The year 1945 is now displayed. In addition, U.S. troops have occupied Germany. The story is now nearing its conclusion. The same cloudy view as in the opening scene was displayed. The male voice of the death narrator is then heard. "I came across some amazing things. I witnessed the world's worst destruction. I've also witnessed the great wonders. But I'll just say that no one lives indefinitely. I finally made it to Liesel, full of egotistical pleasure, because she had lived her 90 years wisely. Her stories touched many people. Max's friendship lasted as long as Liesel's. In her final thoughts, she recalls many lives that were linked to her, as well as her 3 children and a grandchild with Hans, Rosa, and Rudy.